Hello and welcome to maybe the last Vanguard Zero video for now. So this is indeed a deck profile video, don't worry, but if you're someone who doesn't really care about like the overall status of this channel, maybe you're a new viewer or something like that, I recommend just skip forward a couple minutes or so. But for now, I'm going to be talking a little bit about updates. Basically, hopefully you've already seen the update video, so most of this won't come as a surprise to you, but I'm not making Vanguard Zero videos much anymore. It's not because, like, I'm forever quitting or anything like that. I'm still going to be playing the game. It's just that I felt that I'd be making a lot of videos out of obligation rather than me actually wanting to make the videos. And from now on, I'm taking a stance of I'm only making videos if I really want to. And so because of that, I'm going to be stepping away from Vanguard Zero in terms of videos for now. I'm definitely going to be coming back when break rides happen. But even when I do come back, the videos won't be a permanent thing, because I'm just going to make the videos I want to make. And hopefully this means in better content overall. So hopefully this is a change that will actually attract more people to watch more of my videos rather than less. But of course, I couldn't leave without making an Angel Feather deck profile and showing people how to actually use Metatron, because everyone knows of me as the Angel Feather main, because that is who I am. I am the resident Angel Feather shell. They're my favorite clan. And I've had a quick peek at some other people's decks, not anything like very solid and concrete, just because I don't want to actually steal their decks or anything, but I've noticed that the deck I've gone with is a very different one to the one that most people are running anyway. It's a more straightforward one, but I think some people are overcomplicating it. So let's get into the deck profile now. Basically, the big problem with Angel Feather up until this point, and the reason I haven't really run them, even though they're my favorite clan, is because there isn't much of a reason to. Basically, up to this point, they haven't been very good at pushing for damage. So Angel Feather are a very defensive clan, right? Not an offensive one. You're defending, you're controlling the damage zone, you're picking up those perfect guards from your damage zone, so on and so forth. You know this deal. They're medics. They are literally doctors. They're a defensive clan, right? The problem with that is that Vanguard Zero is a very offensive game. And I don't mean that as in it constantly keeps calling me racial slurs. I mean that as in you need to keep pushing for damage every single turn. You have to basically send out intercepts and push for damage every single turn if you want any chance of actually being good at this game. And that's why most good decks in the game are ones that allow you to send out intercepts every turn and push for damage every turn. Luckily, Angel Feather finally have some options, because they've been alright at defending. You know, they're a clan built specifically around defending, so they're actually pretty good at that and always have been. But until this point, they haven't been very good at pushing for damage. Now, they're actually a lot better at it. Still not the best, and again, if you're someone who only cares about climbing, Angel Feather are not the way to go, but they are such a fun clan that I think they're worth playing anyway, even if they aren't the best clan in the game, you know? I think in that regard, Aqua Force and Gold is still the way to go. But they're my favorite clan in terms of gameplay, and well, if you're not having fun playing, then why bother, right? Which is probably one of the reasons a lot of people have dropped off this game recently. And that's why we have built this deck. So basically, to get into the deck proper, what you really want to do is you want consistency and you want to push forward. The defense stuff is already kind of covered for us by nature of it just being Angel Feather in the first place. So if you know what you're doing with Angel Feather, you should have a pretty decent time defending. This is a deck that really emphasizes that if you really want to, you can now push for damage with Angel Feather, which finally makes them playable in Vanguard Zero. And the big reason for that is because up until this point, Shamsiel has kind of sucked, and she still does. She's not a very good card. She's not awful, but as your main target Vanguard, which up until this point she basically was, she's not great. So she lets you put a card from your hand to your damage zone and, you know, swap cards out like that, just like nociel, and she also gets power every time she does that. That sounds like a really good card. Unfortunately, the base 10k isn't very good. And also, it's just nociel, right? You've got better options within Angel Feather up until that point. Up until that point, I've been running Agressive instead, because it allows you to heal by Persona Blasting, and if you complete the raid chain, it gives you the 11k. So it's just a better card than Shamsiel, in my opinion. Especially if you already have copies of nociel, because nociel allows you to, swap things in and out of the damage zone anyway. And also, Kirio just gets the 5k every time anyway. Why bother with, the gimmick of the deck that actually makes it really fun, which is swapping out cards to and from your damage zone, when Kirio kind of just does the job better by completely ignoring the clan's gimmick in the first place. Why bother swapping out cards in and out of the damage zone to power up Shamsiel when you can just get the 5k every time, right? Like, why bother playing a fun deck when you can play a deck that's actually good, right? Now, the reason Angel Feather are finally decent now, they're finally playable, is because Metatron exists, and Metatron fixes this. Metatron is actually a good grade 3 Vanguard to push damage with. Because, hey, we finally have 11k. Agressive was 11k too, but you had to complete the raid chain to actually get it, which isn't something you're going to do every single time. There's going to be games where you whiff that. Whereas now we have, just the standard 11k print on the card. Hey, we're finally, playable now. Congrats. But also, Shamsiel allows you to put one card in and out of the damage zone, while Metatron lets you do 2, which is just a straight up improvement. And you may be thinking, oh, but Metatron specifically calls things to and from the damage zone on the field, whereas Shamsiel does it from your hand. And that's a good point. Shamsiel's better for scooping up perfect guards and stuff, but chances are you're going to be using nociel for that anyway. So Metatron is basically a really good card because, it allows you to take 2 cards out of your damage zone every turn. Once you limit break, but let's face it, in its current meta, you're going to be limit breaking pretty quickly after sending out a grade 3 anyway. So yeah, that's basically the long and short of it. You're sending up Metatron, you're using her ability to manage your damage zone, and she also gets an extra 3000 damage on top of the 11k anyway, so she is just a straight up improvement on Shamsiel in every shape and form. So, okay, the whole point of this deck is that we are supposed to be going for consistency and power. A lot of people, when they're running Angel Feather, they're capitalizing on the defense. I see a lot of people, for example, going for the other starter Vanguard, the 3k one that gives you the 5th heal trigger. But Angel Feather, if anyone needs it, it's not Angel Feather. Angel Feather are fine when it comes to defending. They don't need the 5th heal trigger. They need to push forward with damage, and this one lets you do that easier, because basically what we're doing is we're sending out Metatron as fast as possible, we're hitting for big numbers with her, and the defense stuff handles itself because we're playing Angel Feather. That's not a big deal. A lot of people, when they play Angel Feather in Zero, they will go, well, it's a defensive clan, so we gotta focus on the defense. And in the TCG, that may be true, but in Zero, that doesn't work, because your opponent's gonna MLB or Ezel you, or, it doesn't matter how much you try to defend, your opponent's gonna get that damage in one way or the other anyway. You've got to end them before they can do so. So having good defense is good, because it means you can actually survive long enough to beat them. But if defending is your only game plan, then you're not going to get very far, which is why Shamsiel kind of sucks, because Shamsiel allows you to defend pretty effectively, but it's not the best offensive card. And that's basically our plan here. We're turning Angel Feather into as offensive a deck as possible so that we can actually win. So yes, basically the plan is to use the starter Vanguard, send out Barak, and then send out Aphrodite, which will allow us to superior ride Metatron immediately and just get a grade 3 out very fast. Basically, it's something that Ezel can do, right? And in that regard, this works fairly similar to Ezel. It's basically just an Ezel deck, because Ezel allows you to call out cards from your deck every turn when you limit break. Well, Metatron allows you to do the same thing, really, except from the damage zone instead. And that's the deck, really. It's just 9 crit Ezel, but with draw triggers instead. So the reason we're going with draw triggers, and I will admit this is a very seasoned to taste sort of deck. This isn't the best. This isn't the best deck list, for example, but that's because I heavily encourage you tweaking it to what you like. This is like for example, I like the 9 draws because it allows us to actually take Armorous out of our deck. We're only running 1 copy of her, and that's because I prefer Aphrodite and Nociel and the Pegasus, right? We don't need the other copies of Armorous, and we kind of want to have as much draw power as possible because it gives us more options to play with. Nociel is going to be allowing us to put a lot of cards into our damage zone, and then Metatron's going to be letting us take those cards back out of the damage zone afterwards. And because of that, we want to have as many cards as possible. If we draw a good card, we can use Nociel to put it in the damage zone, and then we can use Metatron to take it out of the damage zone. That's basically the combo we're going for. And that's basically the deck, right? Like, you are basically sending out Metatron as fast as possible, swinging for fairly big damage, sending out the Pegasuses, using Nociel to power up the Pegasuses, and that's basically game, right? You can go for crits or stands if you want. Stands are alright, actually, in this deck, if you know how to use them. But honestly, again, because of the combo of sending a card from your hand to the damage zone, and then sending cards from the damage zone to your field, I think draws are better, because that just gives you more options when it comes to taking things out of your damage zone. So, that's basically the plan. Like, that's the funny thing. Angel Feathers sound fairly complicated, because they're a deck you actually have to think about what it is you're doing when you're playing them. It's not just Unga Bunga. Although, as you can probably see, I've tried my hardest to turn it into an Unga Bunga deck, because those are the only decks that actually do well in Zero anymore. But it's a fairly simple deck. It's just 9 crit Ezel, except you're pulling stuff out of the damage zone instead of your deck. And you're using draw triggers to give yourself more options, which you may think, why not go for the crits? But again, I think that you benefit more from the bigger hand right now. If you want to put some crits in there, then go ahead, feel free. I have certainly tried using crits in this deck, but I honestly think I prefer the draw triggers, because it gives me more options, and having options is certainly a good thing. And honestly, if you're able to Superior Ride the Metatron using Armorous, then you'll be pushing for fine damage anyway, right? Like, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. And that's basically the deck. Now, of course, it's mandatory you use the seasonal fight skin, because, like, come on, we're people of class here. If you use the Koran or Suiko skins when playing Angel Feather, then why even bother uninstall the game? That was a joke. But yeah, that's basically the deck we're running for. Again, season to taste. If you want more of the grade 1 nociels in there, then you can. I do actually have an extra copy of grade 1 nociel. I just don't know what else to take out. This, like, Barak is too good because it lets us get out Metatron. And the Pegasus are too good because we're running Angel Feather, right? And then, of course, the Perfect Gods go without saying. And also, don't forget, you know, Barak and Aphrodite allow us to power up a Vanguard in the damage zone, which we won't usually need, because Metatron already swings for pretty good damage anyway. But it is an option you have there, and having options, like I said, is good. I think this is pretty good for, like, if you are running, like, stands. No, it isn't, because it only powers up your Vanguard. So, no, it's not that great if you're running stands. I don't know, it has its use. I don't know what its use is, but it's there if you need it. And again, I like being able to put a card into my damage zone and go, yes, that's a card I want in my damage zone. And these two cards are very good to have in your damage zone. You're putting those in, and you're taking the actually good cards, like the grade 2 Pegasus, out, basically. I guess that's everything we really need to say about the deck for now. So let's get into a game. Okay, so here's a quick game to show off the Metatron deck for my deck profile video. Okay, so yes, I did immediately, the moment the seasonal event happened, get all the Rekka related stuff, because obviously. So we're going for a mulligan. Fairly simple standard mulligan. You know, don't really need to explain to you how to mulligan, do I? I hope I don't. And we're getting that grade. I see the problem with that grade 3 is I put that one in my deck because it's basically your best option for heal trigger, but I keep drawing it, and that's really, really annoying. So we're sending out the Pegasus, because the Pegasus is actually a really good Vanguard to have on your first turn, honestly, because you're not going to benefit from its ability very much, but honestly there aren't very many good options. So our opponent made a very big mistake by sending out their Perfect Guard, because as you can probably see, we have the combo we need to send out Metatron. We've got the grade 2 and the grade 1 unit that we need. So basically, they fucked up. And this is doing a really good job of showing just how offensive this deck should be. This is your best case scenario. So you're doing that, you're sending out Metatron, and hell, you're even drawing a Metatron. And now we're allowed to send our Pegasus and another grade 2 out. And then I think I even decided to send out nociel just for the sake of it. Just because, you know what, when in Rome, let's push for damage. So we're not going to benefit, we're not really going to scoop up anything from our damage zone other than the card we put in. But it allows us to push for more damage, so may as well push for more damage, basically, because we're powering up our Pegasus and boosting with nociel. So he gets another Perfect Guard. I will admit, it's maybe a cheap shot to kind of use this as the game to show, but I wanted to use this one anyway because I really wanted to kind of go ahead and show off just how offensive Angel Feather can be when you're using them correctly. Everyone always says they're a defensive deck, and they totally are, but the only thing that makes them viable right now is the fact that they can finally actually push for damage. We've already got our opponent to 3 damage in the space of a single turn. That's pretty good. That's what you want to be kind of aiming for. It's going to be a bit difficult later on when your opponent starts sending out intercepts, which is one of the reasons it might be worth running stands. But stands are more kind of effort than they're worth. I'd rather take the quick loss, I guess, than bother with the stands. Again, I might experiment with it in future. I certainly recommend you do too if you're running this deck. Because there's not that much this deck can do against an opponent's intercepts. You basically just kind of have to outlast them and hope that you can last long enough that you can outlive their intercepts. And eventually get to a turn where they aren't sending out 2 intercepts. But yeah, so they're going to send out some intercepts as expected. They're going to do some attacks. They're going to get a draw trigger. Like so. And they're going to attack us. See, funnily enough, us not taking that much damage, which by the way, another trigger. Us not taking that much damage is actually funny because Angel Feather benefit from taking damage. So it does put us in a weird situation. It does kind of limit our options. We need to limit break, and we also need cards to scoop up. We also, weirdly, aren't drawing very many intercepts, but that's fine, we can kind of live with that. So we're just going to get rid of their intercepts, and then we're going to attack. Very straightforward turn. You're going to have a lot of turns like this as Angel Feather, I feel. What's important is that you can start well and you can end well, and if you can do that, then you can afford to have a couple turns here and there in the middle, where you just kind of swing at their intercepts. Gonna get even more triggers, even more grade 3s. Running... I guess it's just a running thing this game, just not going to draw into our grade 2s at all, bit weird, but that's also kind of why you want to run the draw triggers, because at least it helps a little bit against our bad draws here. I do worry about bricking a lot, and I'm not getting the best draws right now because I'm just drawing nothing but grade 3s, but it's not the biggest deal because I've got the draw triggers anyway, so at least I'm drawing a lot of them. So sending out Phantom Ambassador Overlord, which is, yeah, pretty standard move to go for. It does kind of, like, I'm kind of confused as to why they're running this deck right now. If you're going to be running Shadow Paladin, why not go for the other one, Spectral Duke? But whatever, that's fine. If they want to run Phantom Blaster Overlord, I guess who am I to stop them? So as I mentioned earlier, you basically want to outlive your opponent and hope that you can kind of outlast their ability to send out intercepts. And, well, they only managed to send out one intercept this time. That's very, very good for us, because of course, the less intercepts they send out, the more damage we'll actually be able to, like, swing for when we attack them. So that's really, really good. That's basically opening them up a lot. And because of that, we're going to take some hits ourselves, but you kind of want that. At this point in the game, the best thing to do is take some hits, because it means that we have some options to play with when it comes to our turn. So we're going to draw yet another Metatron, which is really, really funny. Metatron is also probably your best grade 3 rare guard to have too, funnily enough. Purely on virtue of it having the 11k, basically. Himeri's, of course, has the skill that allows you to swap it out for something in the damage zone, which can be useful, but it's very situational. Metatron just having the 11k also makes it a very good rare guard to have too. So that's good in and of itself, even if it doesn't have any skills on the rare guard. So once again, swinging for damage, taking out the rare guards, they're already in a kind of difficult situation. They're going to have to be making some very good moves if they want to pull through this time. So they're going to be sending out Phantom Blaster Overlord, probably going to Persona Blast. I'm assuming that's the kind of plan here, because chances are they've probably got at least one other Phantom Blaster Overlord in their hand, so they can Persona Blast. And once again, they're only able to send out one intercept, which puts us in a very good situation. They're going to use their skill to get rid of our nociel, which is interesting. I guess they're just kind of limiting our ability to boost, which I think is a pretty clever ability. Like, I can see why that would be a good game plan. And then I think they end up using, their ability again to get rid of our Metatron. So I guess they're just kind of trying to limit our options. And if we weren't running 9 draw, this could be a problem, but luckily, because we're running 9 draw, we're not doing too bad in terms of draw power anyway. So if we're running more crits or more stands or any of those triggers, that would be a pretty bad blow to take. But luckily for us, we're actually doing really, really well right here. They've kind of shown their hand, I guess, because they've only got 1 card left. And yes, they have a full field, but they only have 1 intercept, and they've kind of used up all their counterblasts. So basically, this turn was their big, like, final push, and we've managed to outlast it. That's the cool thing about Angel Pro being a fairly defensive deck. I can afford to take some hits, basically. So they're going to go for the extra crit. They're going to, I guess, optimistically hope they can get this through, but, I mean, what were they expecting? Like, come on. Did you really think I wasn't going to be able to defend against that? And then they're going to attack my rare guard. So, I do have an empty field, but again, that's why I run the 9 draw. Because I run the 9 draw, I'm fine. I've already got a hand anyway. And now we can finally limit break. So let's go ahead and do so. So what you want to do is you want to place out some cards you don't really want onto the field, and then you can swap them out for cards that you do want from the damage zone. And remember, you can use Metatron's ability to put something in the damage zone and then immediately take it out. So if there's only 1 card in the damage zone you want, then you can put 2 in, take out the 1 you want, and then just take out 1 you already put in, basically. And yeah, that's basically the deck. So we're sending out our Pegasus and a Metatron. The Pegasus was a risky move, I'll admit, because it doesn't quite let me put, like, push forward for damage, really. So that, like, I was kind of hoping I could get a trigger and get rid of, that front rare guard, which I think I might. No, I don't. Okay, yeah. So that is going to stall things out by a turn. In fact, yeah, they get a heal trigger, which is really gonna, yeah. But of course, they don't really have any options. They don't have a hand, and their field isn't the best. So we've basically got this in the bag anyway. We just kind of have to wait things out. Unless they can somehow miraculously get, like, a crit or a stand out of nowhere, but that ain't happening. Yeah. So I guess I'll say that's the last Vanguard Zero video for now. Don't worry, I am coming back once I want to make more videos, once I have more videos I feel are worth making. But I'm taking a temporary short little break because I don't want to get burnt out. And instead I'm going to be making a lot more interesting and weird videos, I guess. I got a lot of videos I'm working on that I'm really happy with, as well as some videos I've recently released that I'm really happy with. So I'll put those in the end card when it gets to that, so you can check those out. I really hope you do. I hope none of you find this as a reason to unsubscribe. I do hope you check out my other stuff. And again, I will be coming back to Vanguard Zero eventually anyway. I just don't really have much else to make videos about. I'm not really running any other deck this season. I'm just running this one deck. And there wasn't really, like, as much as I like the new seasonal event, I'm glad they finally added it in. There's not much to actually really say about it to warrant a video or anything, so I'll just kind of leave it here, basically. So yeah, the Vanguard Zero videos, they're a lot of fun, but I think the time for the most part has passed for now. I'll see you back here when break rides come. But in the meantime, let's do some more interesting and weird and creative videos, and a lot of those will still be Vanguard related, don't worry. So hopefully you check those out. And I'll kind of end the game here by just destroying him this turn. Oh my god, jeez. Like, damn. But yeah, I'll see you later with some more Vanguard videos. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.